and the other is monopsony. But other than that, there are two others written in your syllabus, and we are going to cover all those. One is how the wage rate is determined when monopolistic power is in the product market. All right. So product market, we have monopoly, and factor market, we have perfect competition. Second case is how the wage is determined when there is monopsonistic power in the factor market. And third, when there is bilateral monopoly. And fourth, when, what is going to happen with a competitive buyer firm versus monopoly union. So we are going to do all the four cases, not maybe in the same order, but we are going to do all the four cases. I'm going to do them as they are going to come to us. I also want to do one more part, that is wage determination. Although I have already done this with you and you people have already talked about it when you were doing your graduation, but I would want to do them with you so that you can refresh your memories. Now, today we are going to start with this concept called wage determination under product monopoly and perfect competition in labor market. So kindly write this, the first heading that we are going to do. Wage determination under product monopoly and perfect competition in the labor market. Labor market or factor market, as you want to call it. Now, when we talk about the theory of wage determination and employment, especially with regard to imperfect competitive markets, all right, it is almost the same as we determine the wage rate in the perfect competitive markets as well. But when we talk about imperfect competition in the commodity, and when we are talking about that, in the labor market or in the factor market, there is perfect competition, there are certain modifications involved in the theory. The, the changes are required because of two main reasons. First of all, when we talk about average revenue and marginal revenue in an imperfect competitive market, all right, if you remember, the average revenue and the marginal revenue in the competitive market was constant. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So this is how the things went. Let me carry out the things. So in the perfect competition, the average revenue and the marginal revenue were constant. Yes. And but here when we talk about, so the determination takes place like this. All right, the average wage and the marginal wage is constant. But in the case of imperfect market, all right, when we are talking about the imperfect market, the average revenue and the marginal revenue are not constant. They are downward sloping. They are downward sloping. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is why, there is a little change when we are talking about, the average revenue and the marginal revenue, because they are different. That is why when we are talking about wage determination in an imperfect competitive market, certain modifications are required. This is one reason why the changes are required. All right. And also recall that when we are talking about VMP, anybody can give me the full form of VMP of labor? I've already told you these terms very clearly. I have
Value
told
of
you,
productivity.
yes, I have told you these three terms. All right. One is marginal physical productivity. The other is marginal revenue productivity. Marginal revenue productivity, always remember, is equal to marginal physical productivity into the MR. This is the difference. Marginal productivity or physical productivity is one and the same thing. Your MRP is marginal physical productivity into marginal revenue, and your VMP is always equal to MPP into AR. That is, when I multiply my marginal physical productivity into the average revenue, that is called your value of marginal productivity. Have you understood? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
I've already talked about these terms well in detail with you, all right, but I'm just repeating it. All right, so when we talk about this concept of VMP and MRP, remember that when we were talking about VMP curve, which was, when we derived it on the basis of average revenue labor curve under perfect competition, all right, now when we are going to derive this VMP curve, all right, on the basis of imperfect market condition, it is going to be different. All right, how it is going to be different, I am just going to show it to you, not now, but when we are going to do it. Second reason for the change, second reason why we, wage is determined differently in a monopolistic sort of a structure or an imperfect structure, because the imperfections in the factor market, they will change the supply condition of the labor. All right, the imperfections in the factor market, they will change the supply of labor. All right, the labor may form labor unions, or they may not be given subsistence wages. They may be given more wages, as a result of which the cost of production of the producer may rise, and things may happen differently. So you have to keep this in mind. And for this purpose, because we have this complete theory of wage analysis that we are going to do, we are going to do 4 cases. The first case is when I am going to see monopoly, product monopoly, that is monopoly in the product market. Number 2, monopsony in the product market. All right. Number 3, a monopoly in the labor market. That is when the labor unions are going to be formed. And bilateral monopoly. That is whether it is a labor market or a product market. In both the markets, we are going to see monopoly situation. So the first situation I'm going to do is there is a monopoly in the product market and perfect competition in the labor market. So write down monopoly in the product market and perfect competition in the labor or factor market, which is one and the same thing. All right. And we are doing wage determination. Now, in the case of product monopoly, always remember, whenever there is monopoly in the product market, the value of marginal productivity of labor, it is not the basis of monopoly's demand curve. It is not based on the monopoly's labor demand curve. This value of marginal productivity of labor is not at all based on, always remember, it is not based on monopoly's labor demand curve. All right. And your value of marginal productivity for labor is always and always calculated at constant prices. That is, it will be marginal physical productivity of labor into the price of labor. All right, price of labor. And here the price of labor, that is price of X or price of labor, is equal to the marginal revenue. Always remember, always remember, always remember. But always remember, when there is monopoly in the product market, all right, now this guy is making the product, he will always fix a price greater than the marginal revenue. This guy will always fix the price greater than the marginal revenue, because the monopolist have a downward facing demand curve. Yes or no? How is the demand curve of a monopolist? The average revenue curve is also seen as the demand curve. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So the average revenue curve in case of a monopolist is a downward facing demand curve. This guy will always make sure that he's earning supernormal profits. How will he assure that he's earning supernormal profits? He will always fix a price greater than the marginal revenue. Yes or no? The price is always fixed greater than the marginal revenue. Whenever there is equilibrium, MC cutting MR, I raise up my level to the average revenue. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So he will see to it that my price is always fixed greater than the marginal revenue, never equal to the marginal revenue. Whereas in perfect competition, if you remember, the price was fixed according to the price. This average revenue curve is also called the marginal revenue curve, is also known as the price curve. So the price was fixed according to the marginal revenue. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So if this is clear, these are the foundation things. You should know them. If this is clear, then always remember that since the VMP, which is calculated at constant prices, is always equal to marginal productivity into the price, where price is equal to MR. But in case of product monopoly, we know that the price is greater than MR because the downward sloping demand curve is faced by a monopolist. All right. So the equilibrium condition for whether perfect competition or monopoly for anyone remains the same. That is, MC should be equal to MR. The equilibrium condition, we all know, has to be the same. And what is that equilibrium condition? That is, MC is equal to MR. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But in case of labor cost, what is the cost of labor? Wages? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So in case of labor cost, when we are talking about the labor phenomena, in case of labor cost, the the wages, the condition will change like this. The marginal cost has to be equal to the marginal wage. Yes or no? The marginal cost should not be equal to the marginal revenue. But if we are talking about labor market, we will see that the marginal cost should be equal to the marginal wage. Yes or no? आप किसी को भी कितना काम कितनी आप तनख्वाह दोगे जितना उसने काम किया है. Yes or no?
Yes,
तो आपको खर्चा कितना पड़ेगा जितने आपने उसको wages दिए हैं. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right. So the monopolist will reach equilibrium with respect to labor employment, all right, under the condition that now we are going to just rejoin this. First of all, in the perfect competitive market, always remember that the value of marginal productivity is calculated as MPP into the price, where price is equal to marginal revenue. But in case of monopoly, the value of marginal productivity is not with regard to your price, because here the price is greater than the marginal revenue because we have a downward falling demand curve or the average revenue curve. The condition of equilibrium in any market remains the same. MC is equal to MR. But when we are talking about the labor market, the marginal cost has to be equal to the marginal wages. यहाँ तक सबको समझ आ गया?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now I am going to coordinate the whole thing. If this is the foundation that you've already understood, I am just going to coordinate everything. The monopolist will reach equilibrium if they have to employ labor under the condition where marginal revenue productivity of labor is equal to marginal wage. Now the marginal revenue productivity of labor is nothing but it is MPP of L into the marginal revenue of X. But I also know that the price of X is greater than the marginal revenue of X under product monopoly. All right. So therefore, you always remember that the value of marginal productivity of labor is always greater than the marginal revenue productivity of labor under product monopoly. And the difference between MRP and VMP, I am just going to show it to you. But this is the foundation, this is the background that you always have to see, always have to record that whatever we did just right now, I am just compiling it up. The condition of equilibrium is MC should be equal to MR, but MC should always be equal to MW as well. So this is your MRP. Your MRP of L should be equal to the marginal wage. But in case of monopoly, always remember MRP of L usually for other reasons is always MPP into MR of X. But in monopoly, the price is greater than the MR of X under product monopoly. I've already told you. Hence, there is difference between VMP of L and MRP of L. जबकि प्रोडक्ट मार्केट परफेक्ट कॉम्पिटिटिव मार्केट में ये दोनों बराबर होते हैं. मोनोपोली में आपका वैल्यू ऑफ मार्जिनल प्रोडक्टिविटी विल ऑलवेज बी ग्रेटर देन मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू प्रोडक्टिविटी. क्यों? क्योंकि मेरा वैल्यू ऑफ मार्जिनल प्रोडक्टिविटी इज MPP into AR. AR is my price and this is MPP into MR. MR is like this. So मेरा price greater है marginal revenue से. Right? मैं हमेशा अपने profit maximize करना चाहूंगी. जानबूझ के स्कैरसिटी क्रिएट करूंगी, सो क्योंकि मेरा एवरेज रेवेन्यू कर्व डाउनवर्ड फॉलिंग है, तो मेरा VMP भी, क्योंकि VMP MPP, नाउ always remember this is MPP into AR, this is MPP into MR, so therefore, or this is MPP into price, and because price is greater than marginal revenue, hence VMP of L is greater than MRP of L. Now always remember this. This is why all this is happening. Is this clear to all of you? If this is making sense to you, can we go ahead? Is it making any sense to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
All of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Aditya, Sahil, Shivani, everybody, is it making any sense to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Now we are going to move further. I am going to make a table where I am going to, tell you that how this VMP and MRP are different. Right? I am just going to make a table and I would explain the things with the help of the table. You can take a snapshot or you can make the table with me if you wish to. All right. And we are going to base our diagram and our understanding of the phenomena with the help of that particular table. Units of labor. So divide your page into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 columns. Total output, that is quantity I'm going to take, the total output, the marginal productivity of the labor, the selling price or the average revenue, whichever you want to call it, total revenue, which is price into quantity. Then we have marginal delta TR, that is TR of N minus TR of N minus 1. And then we have the marginal revenue, which is delta TR upon Q or MPP, whatever you want to call it. Then we have marginal revenue productivity of labor. And we have value of marginal productivity of labor. This is MPP into MR, and this is MPP into AR. So if we clearly look at this diagram or the table, you can easily see that my units of labor, all right, if I employ 1 labor, 2 labor, 3 labor, 4 labor, 5 and 6 labor respectively, my total output, my quantity will change. The total production will change. By employing only 1 labor, 10 people are engaged or 10 units of output can be produced. By engaging 2, 19. By engaging 3, 27, and that's how the number of output or the value of output goes on rising. But if you look at the gap between 10 and 19, 19 and 27, 27 and 34, 34 and 30, 40 and 45, they are increasing, but they are increasing in a diminishing order. Can you see it? Yes or no? Yes, Bete?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now I am going to find out the marginal productivity of labor, which is 10. 19 minus 10 will be 9. This is marginal productivity. So I know it is TR of N minus, so this is delta. I am going to change my output. So how much is the physical productivity going on? This is the gap between. So I know that it is in a diminishing order. If you can see that, this is 10 as it is, I'm writing, then 19 minus 10, 27 minus 19, 34 minus 27, 40 minus this, and 45 minus 40. So this is how I get my marginal physical productivity. After that, I am going to assign a selling price, which is already given to me, that as the number of units go on increasing, my price goes on falling. Can you see it? As the number of units go on rising, the price goes on falling. Can you see it? Yes or no? And this is the price of the product, because there is monopoly in the product market. Remember that. And then that is why I haven't written price of labor. I'm writing price of X, the price of the product. So total revenue, which is quantity into price, 15 into 10, 150, 14 into 19, 266, 13 into 27, 351, 12 into 34, 408, 11 into 40, 440, and 10 into 45, 450. So this is how I calculate my total revenue. The price, this is the price into quantity, this into this, this into this. This is how I get my total revenue. Have you got it, everybody? Yes, Nitin? The next is delta TR. That is, I'm going to find out that by how much my total revenue has increased. So this minus this, this minus this, this minus this, this minus this, and this minus this. So very quickly, I am going to find out. 150 I write as it is. 266 minus 150 is 116. 351 minus 266, 85. 408 minus 351 will be 57. 440 minus 408 will be 32. 450 minus 440 is 10. So this is how I calculated my delta TR. Now I'm going to calculate my marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is delta TR upon marginal physical productivity. So I am very quickly going to find out my delta TR, that is 150 upon 10, 15, 116 upon 9, 13, then 85 upon 8. I'm just taking the averages. 57 upon 12, no, 57 upon 7. 32 by 6, 6 5 are 30, and 10 by 5, 5 2s are 10. So this is going to be, I haven't taken the points. All right. So I have, what I have done, my delta TR, this is what I have calculated upon marginal physical productivity. This is going to give my marginal revenue. Now I'm going to calculate my marginal revenue productivity, which is MPP into MR. So this is my marginal physical productivity, and this is my MR. I'm going to calculate these two, and I'm going to find out my MRP, and that is 150, 117, 88, 56, 30, and 10. And now I'm going to finally calculate my VMP, which is marginal physical productivity, this into the price of X, that is average revenue. And very quickly, I'm going to find it. It is 150, 126, 104, 84, 66, and 50. So I have completed my table here, and this is my complete table that I have. And very quickly, I'm going to tell you the units of labor. This is the quantity, the output that will change when I employ more labor. This is the third thing that we have is the marginal physical productivity, that is this minus this, this minus this. Then we have the selling price, which is already given. All right. This is the price of the commodity. And as the units of labor increase, the price will fall, and so on and so forth. And then we have the total revenue. All right. Total revenue is, of course, the price into quantity. So I have multiplied price into quantity. I've got total revenue. Then I've changed delta TR. That is, delta TR is this minus this, this minus this, this minus this, all that. This is the delta TR. And then I have found out the marginal revenue, which is delta TR upon MPP. So this upon MPP, I have found out my marginal revenue. Then I find out the marginal revenue productivity, which is MR into MPP. and VMP, that is MPP into price. So this is my MPP and this is my price. When I multiply them, this is what I get is my value of marginal productivity of labor. Have I made myself clear with this table, all of you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So now you know that PMP and your MRP are different. This is MPP into MR. This is MPP into AR, or the price. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And now look at this. Now look at this. What is happening? Look at the VMP throughout. Look at the VMP throughout. 126, 117, 104, 108. Sorry, 104, 88, 84, 56. Then we have 66, 30. And then finally we have 50 and 10. Yes or no? So what is happening throughout? My value of marginal productivity is greater than marginal revenue productivity. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Because my price is greater than my marginal revenue. Have you got it? Yes or no? The price is greater than the marginal revenue. Have you understood? This is my marginal revenue. This is my price. It is greater. Is it clear to all of us?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes,
right. Right. If the table is clear, I don't mind spending more time on this, but then that has to be clear. Now it is seen with the what is it that you want, Avi? Now, except at the initial stages, my marginal, if you have clicked the picture of this particular table, because I can't hold it for a very long time. Have you clicked the picture or have you made it? All of you?
Yes, 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 ma'am.
Okay. Now, if we look at the initial stage of marginal revenue productivity of labor. Initial stages. All right. Now, वैसे तो MRP is different from VMP throughout, right? Both MRP and VMP tend to decrease with increase in the labor, but the fall in MRP is much faster than the fall in the VMP. So this difference between MRP and VMP, all right, we can show it in a form of a diagram, and I will just very quickly make the diagram. Very quickly, I will make a diagram. On the OX axis, I will take labor. And on the OY axis, I'm taking MRP and VMP of labor. Is the diagram doing justice? Is the diagram doing justice?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So VMP is greater than MRP. They both are falling, but the fall in MRP is much faster than the fall in VMP. Now, once we have derived this MRP and VMP curve for the product monopoly, we are now going to derive the labor demand curve for the product monopoly. And this labor demand curve of the product monopoly is derived on the basis of MRP curve. It'll be derived on the basis of MRP curve. All right. And this MRP curve, remember, it has two conditions. This MRP curve, it has two conditions. The first condition is that the monopoly firm uses only labor as the variable factor. तो monopoly के लिए सिर्फ जो variable factor है वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ labor है, और जो monopoly firm है, ठीक है, उसके लिए सिर्फ labor variable factor है, और monopolist जो है, जो खुद monopolist है, अगर एक single monopolist है, you always have to remember उसके लिए labor और capital दोनों के दोनों variable factor हैं. ये जो मेरा MRP of labor मैंने curve बनाया है, it has two conditions. जो मेरी monopoly firm है, I'm writing it out for you so that it's clear. They are using only labor as variable factor, whereas the monopolist himself is using both labor and capital as variable factor. This is the condition that I have to keep in mind. So the marginal revenue productivity curve, which is downward falling and is below VMP, in this case, two conditions are followed. One, the monopoly firm is taking only labor as the variable factor, whereas the monopolist himself takes both labor and capital as the variable factor. So I am going to do two cases. One, when the monopoly's demand for labor, I'm going to calculate the monopoly's demand for labor when there is a single variable factor, and then I'm going to take monopoly's demand for labor, monopoly firm demand for labor, when both the factors are when two factors are variable. Have you got it, Betty?
Yes, ma'am.
So subject to two conditions, we are going to have two labor curves. All right, we are going to find out how. I'm going to do the first case on the based on the first this thing. Monopoly's demand for labor. Write down the first case. Monopoly demand for labor. You can write down first case. First case. Monopoly demand for labor. Monopoly's demand for labor with single variable factor. अब मेरे को बात बताओ, जो मोनोपोलिस्ट है वो अपनी लेबर कहाँ से हायर कर रहा है? मोनोपोली को काम करवाना है, प्रोडक्ट बनाना है, प्रोडक्ट मार्केट में मोनोपोली है, वो अपनी लेबर कहाँ से कर रहा है? कहाँ से ले रहा है लेबर? लेबर मार्केट में क्या है? There is perfect competition in the labor market. या फिर factor market. So a monopolist, he is the one who is making the product. So there is monopoly in the product market. This is the case we are doing. But this guy needs labor so that the labor can work. And where is he hiring the labor from? He is hiring the labor from the perfect competitive labor market. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है, क्योंकि यहाँ पर परफेक्ट कंपटीशन है लेबर मार्केट में, तो मोनोपोली को क्या मिल रहा है? मोनोपोली हैज टू फेस अ न्यू सिचुएशन. And what is that new situation the monopolist is facing? He is facing a perfectly elastic supply curve of labor. Perfectly elastic supply curve of labor. यानी कि जितनी लेबर उसको चाहिए उतनी उसको मिल जाएगी. Perfectly elastic supply curve of labor. Have you understood? Yes, बेटे.
Yes, ma'am.
तो ये बंदा, इसको लेबर चाहिए, लेबर इसको परफेक्ट कंपटीशन मार्केट से मिलेगी क्योंकि लेबर मार्केट में परफेक्ट कंपटीशन है, तो उनका जो सप्लाई कर्व ऑफ लेबर है वो परफेक्टली इलास्टिक है. सप्लाई कर्व ऑफ लेबर मेरा परफेक्टली इलास्टिक है. हैव यू गॉट इट?
Yes, ma'am.
लेकिन अभी मैंने बताया हमारा मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू कर्व ऑफ द डिमांड फॉर लेबर इज डाउनवर्ड फॉलिंग.
Yes, ma'am.
So a profit maximizing monopoly firm will hire the labor to that level where the marginal revenue productivity of labor is equal to the supply curve of labor, or supply curve is also called the marginal cost curve of the labor. Yes or no? Supply curve of labor is also called the marginal cost curve of labor. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
सप्लाई क्या होता है, मार्जिनल कॉस्ट है ना. तो कब तक, तो हमने अगर वेज डिटरमिन करना है, कहां पे वेज डिटरमिन करेंगे, जहां पर मेरा ये डाउनवर्ड फॉलिंग मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू प्रोडक्टिविटी कर्व इज इक्वल टू द marginal cost curve of the labor. Have you understood the condition? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Harman, have you understood? Prachi, have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ghazal, Tamanna, is it clear, bache?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If this is clear, we move forward now. We move forward. This is exactly the end of the story in this case. Now, so if the wage rate in a perfectly competitive labor market is given, profit maximizing monopolists will employ labor where MRP is equal to MC of the labor. Now, the derivation of labor's demand curve, I can just show it to you. Labor demand curve हम कैसे derive करते हैं? ये मैं आपको दो डायग्राम बनाकर दे रही हूँ. All right. दोनों डायग्राम पे ओ एक्स एक्सिस पे मैं लेबर ले रही हूँ और दोनों डायग्राम पे मैं ओ वाई एक्सिस पे वेज रेट ले रही हूँ. सो पहला है मेरा सप्लाई कर्व ऑफ लेबर 1, जिसको हम एमसी कर्व भी कह सकते हैं, सप्लाई कर्व ऑफ लेबर 2, सप्लाई कर्व ऑफ लेबर 3, एंड देन वी हैव आवर marginal revenue productivity of labor curve. So this is E1, E2, E3, W3, W2, W1. Very quickly, I'm just going to get it to you. Please look at this diagram. Please look at this diagram here. The equilibrium is when MRP is equal to the supply of labor curve. All right. Now you have to realize this very, very clearly, that if this guy needs more labor, okay, so lesser labor is supplied at higher wages, more labor is supplied at low wages. On the basis of the determination, I take out my labor demand curve for labor, and DL, this particular labor curve that I have derived, this particular curve is the demand for labor curve, and in a very small box I have shown it to you. All right. So as the wage rate, you can easily see that, at point, the derivation of the monopolies labor demand curve can be seen. Suppose the marginal revenue productivity labor curve, it intersects the supply curve of labor 3. If we can see it here, the supply curve of labor 3, this one. All right. At this point, we have the point of intersection can be seen at point E3, all right, and at point E3, the marginal revenue productivity of labor is equal to W3, which is equal to MC of L. So this is where I am deriving my first one, my second one, and my third one. So you can see that when wage rate is declining, all right, monopoly is employing OL2 units of labor in order to maximize its profits. Similarly, when wage rate decreases further, that is to OW1, the firm will employ more laborers. So as the wage rate goes on, as he wants to employ more and more laborer, he is going to, as the people will offer themselves at a lower wage rate, he will keep on supplying more and more labor. Have you understood? So it is like if you are offering if you are offering yourself at a higher wage rate. If you are a laborer, ज़्यादा मांगोगे तो मैं कम labor employ करूंगा, कम wage rate मांगोगे तो मैं ज़्यादा laborers employ करूंगा. Have you understood, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is how I derive the demand curve of labor in a single variable factor, and this is called the monopoly's demand for labor. Now I'm going to find out the case 2, monopoly's demand for labor with two variable factors. But before we do the two variable factors, I really want to confirm, is this particular diagram and is this derivation clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the first case is over. Tomorrow, that is on Monday, I am going to take up your second case. I don't want to really, burden you people with difficult things much. But if you have understood this much, this is going to be our victory, because this is a difficult concept which many people do not understand. And now, for God's sake, have you understood the difference between VMP, MPP, MPR, and all that? Have you found out the difference between all of these?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody?
Yes,
Right?
Yes,
So I think this is all for today.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hanji, bolo, Arushi.
Ma'am, can we show wage rate and labor demand in one diagram? Like we have made two diagrams.
Because we have derived the demand curve for labor, bete, from there. Arushi, look at the diagram very carefully, bache. What have we done? What have we done? This is the condition of equilibrium, where marginal revenue productivity is equal to the supply curve of labor. And supply curve of labor is also called the marginal cost curve of labor. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So from here, what have I derived? I've derived demand curve of labor. Isn't that so?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So this is monopoly's demand curve of labor. So how can we draw one diagram, beta?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So are you sure you all have understood this phenomenon?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody, I want a yes from everybody. Have you? Now, not want. It's like if you've already, if you've really understood, then only say yes. Have you all understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. All right. I take this as a yes for an answer. And tomorrow.